guys, welcome back to my channel. Today was the final episode of A Teacher. I guess the series finale was only a mini series, so it was not really meant to go on past the few 10 episodes. Really sad that this is the final episode, but don't forget to comment down below about your comments on this episode and this review and continue the conversation. So I'm just gonna dive through my notes per usual and give my intake. It was probably about 24 to 25 minutes, very short like the rest of the episodes. I don't know if I was expecting it to be longer than the other ones because this is the series finale, but nope, they made it sweet to the point and kind of rushed through things and almost made it hard to really be engaged and emotionally involved with the series, or at least this episode, but also there is obviously some heart-wrenching parts. It shows immediately that it's 10 years later, so this is after 10 years out of high school, so it could potentially be a high school reunion or just 10 years after he's 19, so maybe 29 years old. Claire will be about 40-ish or so just kind of context into their age. And it shows Eric is grown the F up. His hair is longer. Before it was kind of a short, clean kind of look, and he is camping with a black guy that we've never seen. Series finale, so we're being introduced to a new character, why, but he's camping, not really sure if it's just for recreational fun or if he's just an instructor for school in some sense, but they're kind of just talking about just camping and unnecessary things, again just showing that it is time has passed. The guy makes a reference to saying your 10-year reunion is going to be coming up soon. So are you going to attend? And it does show that Eric is very skeptical. But the reasoning, because there's a lot of trauma aside from Claire in itself about high school. So I would almost be surprised if he decided to attend or not. But he still had some friends from there and grew up, there and everything. But he's I'm not really sure. It also flashes back to Claire and her new life. We see her very fancy house. We see that she now has 2 kids, daughters, and she's married now with that big rock that everyone saw in the trailer. So she's married, but is she working essentially? Was she able to get a real job after everything? Who is this man? What's he doing for himself? Because we see a Tesla, so obviously maybe he is the breadwinner and maybe making money for the whole household, and she's kind of just the home wife because who knows what kind of role she was able to get post everything. They drive to go visit her father. It's his 75th birthday. And as she's there, her brother and the brother's wife attend also as well. I was worried that there was going to be the animosity between her and the brother's wife there was when she was staying with them, but it didn't really give much storyline to them. Again, there's only about 25 minutes for them to really show anything on this episode, so there wasn't really much interaction with them too. And it flashes to Eric as it does, because it always kind of just jumps between both storyline. So it jumps to Eric and he is driving for the first time this entire series. That was just something I pointed out. I was Eric just never had a license, or he never had a car. I don't know exactly what, but this is the first time I've ever seen him drive. And I'm oh, he's grown now. This is that little defining little moment to me, at least. He's driving a station wagon into the city, and as he's driving, there's a sign that says "Welcome to Texas," which almost entails that he possibly completely relocated, moved out of Texas, tried to restart his life again. So just actually removed himself from the situation, because it just seemed every time he met someone new within the state or the city, they'd always remind him of Claire. They'd always ask him questions about the situation. It's just, he couldn't escape it, obviously. So maybe that was what he chose to do. But then small world, this was the cringe part. It was 5 or 6 minutes, I was looking at the time. Eric goes to the grocery store. In the background, you kind of see Claire and her daughter. So you see kind of Eric, Claire and the daughter. I'm please don't pass by. Maybe somehow it's going to be some movie trickery and he's going to go this way, she's going to go that way, and they're not going to cross paths. Eric decides to turn around as if whatever happened, and he gets eye contact with Claire. I almost thought they were going to recognize each other, but they look exactly the same. And Claire is the one who decides to be bold and walk over to him and oh my God, Eric, it's been a really long time, how are you doing? And Eric is just starstruck, almost all color lost out of the face, just very distraught about the situation, probably just never wanted to cross paths with her again. It just was not great. The daughter is kind of she's younger, what does she know what's going on? And Eric, after sitting there for maybe a minute or so, he's I'm gonna leave and remove myself from the situation, and walks out of the grocery store and gets absolutely nothing. He just walks out to his car and he curses to himself F, obviously it was really hard, and obviously that was probably not the situation he was expecting. He literally just got into town, and imagine that just shows you how much of a small town feel that the series kind of creates. What else happened? When it flashes to Claire, she's with her family, and you can kind of see her just spaced out. I'm reenacting it, but just very spaced out, just thinking about stuff. So obviously she's very much pondering on the situation that happened with Eric, and just the what ifs maybe, or just like, should I contact him? I'm not exactly sure. Obviously she was just thinking, this is just me speculating, because what else are you really thinking about? Homeboy is trying to move on with his life. It's been 10 years and it seems like this is probably the first time you guys seen each other in 10 years. Like, what is there to really think back to or reflect on? Like, just let it be dead. But you know, it's a TV show, things are gonna happen anyways. But she's kind of just pondering out. It shows Eric at his mom's place. Mom looks good. He again has his longer hair, and his little brothers, who were like elementary school, are now high school, presumably. Like, they're as tall as he is now, so they're high school age approximately. I don't know if they were twins or not. And he's like, oh my God, you're so much older now. So again, it just shows that he hasn't really been home in years too. I think he just, again, has not returned to the state, has not returned to the city, and who knows how long. It's been a really long time, obviously. And yeah, I just can imagine that was really like hard to see or deal with, essentially, because now it's like I was gone that long to like miss out on my brothers growing up, or just miss out on like important moments just because of this trauma he had to deal with. Eventually, it does show Eric go to his 10-year reunion. It says 2014 10-year reunion, so it's obviously 2024, so flew the hell forward. That's really, like a really long time that they decided to skip, but that's what the series decided to do. And he goes into the little, like, I guess gymnasium is what it looks like, and they have like the whole 10 years, there's drinks and stuff. Again, everyone's of age, so it was weird to see alcohol, but I was like, oh yeah, they're older now. And you see Josh and his 30-year-old friend Logan. I always call him 30-year-old because too old for the role, and they're there and they're drinking, and it was kind of like weird. It was obviously like the first time them two had seen him in a really long time, and they were kind of like making references like, oh, you should have gotten here sooner, like, because they left after like a few minutes of talking. Logan's, I guess, wife comes up. It's like, oh, we have a kid. So now you see that Logan has married and has a child. Josh apparently is a millionaire off of Bitcoin, I guess. So they kind of both have things going for them. And as far as we've seen, Eric has the stake. As far as we see, Eric has a station wagon and was camping at the beginning of the episode. So don't really know if he essentially progressed in his life past everything. So it seems like he almost got left in the dust. In that little scenario before the guys leave, Allison, his high school ex-girlfriend, pulls up to the group and it's like, hey guys. I'm like, oh, I'm surprised Allison's even saying anything. But again, they're 10 years into the future. Whatever happened in high school could essentially be put in the past, forgotten, old news. But she comes up and says hi to everybody. And Eric and Allison end up in a hotel room, Allison's hotel room to be specific. And I was like, oh, this is where we're going. Besides from them hooking up, Eric apologizes to Allison about the situation that happened years ago, a decade ago. And Allison's like, oh, I forgot about that, or it's old news. Like, you don't have to apologize. That was so long ago. Like, chill out. Like, it's not that deep. And he still kind of tries to apologize. And then stuff obviously happens before the camera leaves. And it switches back to Claire. Claire is at home with her husband in bed, obviously. And like I said before, she's spacing out. She's just thinking. She's just pondering, just obviously restless, and just has something to get off her chest, or just wants to talk to Eric, or just, I don't know. She just obviously doesn't really know how to move on to this. She doesn't really know how to move on from the situation post the grocery store, obviously. So she goes to the bathroom and she's on the phone, and I'm like, if it's Claire who reaches out to him after you saw how he was at the grocery store, after you saw him leave after the grocery store, after he has not reached out to you, given everything, why would you take that initiative to like reach out to him? You have a husband now, a new husband, and kids. It is not smart for you to do this. But guess what happens? Eric leaves Allison's hotel room. Right before he gets into the elevator, he gets a text message from Claire saying, hey, can we meet up for lunch? And he just looks so broken and confused and conflicted when he's in the elevator. And that's like an instant reaction to her texting him alone, or just asking him to hang out, and he didn't respond. And I'm like, if that doesn't show you how much trauma that this woman has brought onto him, into his life, into everything, then it just shows that maybe one, he shouldn't have met up with her because he knows that he didn't need to, and two, she shouldn't have messaged him. I'm not blaming either, but she should just not message him, and he just shouldn't go for his like sanity. It flashes forward to like what we saw in the trailer, where she's sitting at the little like dining table at a restaurant. So obviously Eric obviously accepted, and it looks very fancy. I don't know, that's something pointing out. And Eric comes in, not a smile on his face, not like a hint of enthusiasm or anything. Not that he needed any, but it was like, I don't really know where this conversation is going to go. This is obviously the very end of the episode. He sits down and it's just awkward. And Claire's like, so, did you find parking? And I'm like, girl, why are you making a small talk? You were the one who initiated this conversation, this meetup. You brought him here. He didn't need to be here. Get to the point. Tell him what you needed to, or what you felt the need to talk to him about. Just stop talking about this nonsense. And they're kind of just going back and forth until like the waiter or something asks for their orders, their drinks and stuff. And then Eric's just like, okay, like, why did you ask me here? Like, what did you want from this? What was your objective? Also, I forgot to mention, Eric didn't have Claire's number saved in his phone. It was just like a phone number. And she was even like, Eric, I don't know if it's your same number. So it's like, she kept his number and he deleted it. Obviously, Eric was the grown person in the situation, even though he was only 17. I'm just saying, like, he knew that he needed to delete it, and she's still texting this boy, and he'd been lost her number. So that's like, Claire, come on now. Eric asks Claire about her marriage and her kids, and she's like, yeah, I have kids, because he said like daughter, and she's like, kids, and he's like, I Googled you, and she's like, oh, I Googled you too, and it's like, what business do either of you guys have Googled each other, because that's obviously gonna create issues for yourselves within. And Eric is straight to the point, asked her why she texted him. She gives like a pity story about how she wanted to reach out to him but didn't. She wanted to apologize but didn't. She had all this like inklings but just didn't. And again, maybe you didn't for a reason, like it just wasn't needed. And Eric goes off. He's like, because she says that like, I moved forward with my life, I know you did, speak for yourself, honey. Because Eric's like, I didn't move forward. My life has been since you, like, I have not been able to move forward since you. Everything has been traumatic for me. I have not moved forward. Because she was like, oh, you went to UT. Yeah, he went and dropped out. I don't know if he actually went back because he didn't address that. But he's just saying like, he's had to live with this for obviously the past 10 years and kind of came to the realization that it wasn't him who made the move on her, like initiated everything. It was her. It was her who agreed to tutor him, that took him to the UT when that was not part of the tutoring session, told him to start calling her by her first name, the one that led him out of the school dance. Like he started to piece things together. Obviously he probably learned this through therapy, but he's just like, it was not me. I was the minor. You were the authority or the authoritarian of the situation. Like it was not me who created this. It was you. So for you to be creating this pity party about yourself when you were the older one and had more sense about it, I'm not taking it. And she kind of starts saying like other things and was rambling about her marriage and how she's not able to find a job and like it's her husband. Like she was just talking about herself, which she kind of did with her ex-husband when they kind of divorced and everything. But she's like, I am just lucky I found someone who loves me for me. I can't even find jobs. Like, think again about Eric and his situation. You keep talking about yourself. You're not really asking him how he's doing. You're talking about yourself more than like, this is how I'm doing. How are you? Like a kind of reciprocated thing. But she's not doing that. And Eric is like, you know, I went to go see my family and my brother is 17. I was 17 when that happened. And he is so young, youthful, like he's a child. I don't know how you did that to me. Because again, like kind of visualizing like that was me. Like that's what age I was when that situation happened and how it was inappropriate. And I guess like seeing his brother and almost imagining that could have happened with a teacher that was older than stuff. That's like really, I guess that maybe thing for him. I don't know. Again, he also had to miss out on his brothers growing up. So that's really unfortunate due to everything. And Claire kind of admits that almost, or that's what it kind of seems like. Claire kind of almost admits that her marriage was falling apart. So she kind of almost maybe lashed onto Eric to maybe finally allowed it to implode and I guess end because she needed to get out of it. And like almost that she used him. So again, we kind of already knew she was using Eric, but like she admits it. And it's like, again, what was your intent on this lunch? If you're almost gonna make him feel worse about the situation, there was no closure. There was never gonna be closure anyways because the damage has already been done for either of you guys. Eric said, you were in denial. You know how long it took me to like learn everything. You were creating those moments. You know how long I hated myself because I thought I hurt you. So it's just, he was speaking knowledge. And this is a TV show. He has the script, but still like, it was just stuff that was very needed to be said from him. I'm sure like maybe hopefully help him in the long run because Claire was just talking a lot of nonsense. And Eric got up and was like, you know what? You are making this about you. You are not taking ownership of anything. Like if anything, you clearly have not learned from the situation and I just don't need to be here. And Claire, I don't think she's like, there was no reason for her trying to beg him to stay, but she just, I don't think it kind of flashed back to her when he was finally really saying that and he got up and left. Y'all, this was the last episode of the series. I'm very, very sad because I was so attached to it, especially from the first 3 episodes before they kind of dropped them like staggeredly every week. And wow, I am like, what am I supposed to watch now? Who am I going to communicate to on YouTube? Because it was like a really fun, like interactive series to like be uploading and communicating with everyone in the comments. But wow, it is over. Let me know what y'all think of the ending. Also comment down below if there's other series or future series that you guys would want me to do in the future, because I'd love to do this and like continue doing this. But yeah, hopefully see y'all in the future. Bye.